Right, Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praises. First and foremost, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Wakar Kadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son Bahashem. In the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. The lost Kadash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles of Akim, Akmaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy updates as of Tuesday. Hey, Shalom, sister. Shalom to you. Rakathon to you and your household. I say Shalom to you, Rebecca, sister. So out here, Slocky. Sit down lesson of prophecy update as of Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026 at 9:17 a.m. This is a prophecy updates. And this is a news article from RT.com as of February the 10th, 2026. It reads, it says, no option but to beef up defense, the key Russian ally. It says, Belarus president has decided to build up NATO forces. And it says, to the Belarus president, Alexander, has cited the build up of NATO forces in the Eastern Europe and rapidly militarized of the region. Why? Because you've been having, we've been speaking about this recently, and as of lately, about the rise in tensions has been heating up, between Belarus and Russia together versus the European Union and NATO. And there's been a lot of military building up over, I would say, the northern flank and the eastern flank over there in Europe, because you got a border region up there not too far of the NATO military building up, not too far from the Russian borders, war too. It says the Belarus, Russian key ally in the Eastern Europe, it said will inevitably have to strengthen its defense capabilities in the light of NATO's hostility actions in the western borders. The Belarusian president Alexander has said it says following the escalation of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022, the military bloc has established new units and boosting a forward presence of its forces near the Russian and Belarusian border. Multiple NATO members stated that having concurrently launched a massive military buildup citing a perceived Russian threat, Moscow has denied harboring any aggression attempts towards its western neighbors. This is the book of Matthews. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. This is the Gospel of Matthew 24 and verse 6. It reads, it says, ye should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but then it's not yet, right? So it's going to come to pass, but I'm not going to enter that. So on a daily basis, we're going to be seeing the modern day wars and rumors of wars between nations on a day-to-day basis. So once again, while the Russia-Ukraine situation is going on, and they still going to have the European Union, NATO, versus Belarus and Russia heating up as well too. As you have the Russian president say he's going to have no choice but to beef up this military presence over there in Eastern Europe. And this is another news article as we've been seeing rising tensions heating up down there in the South China Sea, in the Taiwan Strait, and near Taiwan as well too. It says Beijing warns of annihilation over Taiwan's ATACMS deployment idea. The strike with U.S.-made weapons will trigger an overwhelming response, and the military spokesperson has said. It says that Beijing has warned that annihilation of any forces in Taiwan that attempts to use U.S.-supplied missile systems, right? Just like last year, I believe the Taiwanese armies, I think it was like 3 million or 3 billion, if I'm not mistaken, the largest military sale between Taiwan and the United States in a long time. And then you've been having Beijing been sending increasing amount of warnings to us, towards the United States and Taiwan, because you still got Taiwan and the United States is still unofficial allies. And then most likely the United States is going to recognize Taiwan as a self-governed island. Ever since Taiwan separated themselves from China, I believe in 1949, it says the threats follow media reports claiming that the administration of the self-governed Chinese island is considering deploying the HIMARS launchers, which they tested, I believe, like last year. And then they did another recent exercise drills over there in the Taiwan Strait. And they've been seeing throughout the years a military building up from China. It says an armed some tactical ballistic missiles is led closer to the mainland over Taiwan. It says on Tuesday, the Chinese military spokesperson Jane Bean, if I pronounce his name right, criticized the idea for a deployment and suggested that the speculations about systems used to attack China has increasingly absorbed overconfident. He said, and notions were propagated by elements advocating for the Taiwan's former independence, warning that they risk provoking a war and would suffer certain annihilations if a conflicts arise. Taipei has ordered a 82 M142 HIMARS systems and 420 ATACMS Oceans under a 11.1 billion arms sales package announced by the United States last December. It says that the ballistic missiles have range of 300 kilometers, meaning that their deployment to be in the Pangal and the Gyeonggi Islands would enable them to target large coastal areas. The potential threat posed by the HIMARS system was underscored by Chinese media coverage of a naval exercise conducted near Taiwan in late December. It says the Taiwan's military reportedly plans to deploy its recent acquired HIMARS launcher platform to the outlying island in a move that could put many of Chinese coastal navy facilities and airfields in the Fujian in Zhejiang province within range of Taiwanese. This is Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right, that's what we see on a daily basis. Taiwan versus China, China versus the United States over Taiwan, of them being allies, sending increasing warnings as tensions are heating up down in the South China Sea, Taiwan Strait, the immediate red line, and close near the Taiwan Sea. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which goes into ethnos, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." And this is the book of Luke 21. This is the Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 25. It says, "There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars." Hello, Moto. Luke 21 and verse 25 says, "There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations will perplex sea rich one." Right, so we see in the modern day distress of nations will perplex sea rich one, with the seditions, the uprises, uproars people world, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, wars, rumors of wars, and uncertainty among the nations, why wrong with the famines and pestilent plagues, and all these signs of the sun and the moon and the stars that we see increasing around the world. Just like this recent blood moon is supposed to be coming up in the month of March. And then we see the doomsday clock to 85 seconds. Okay, so these are the signs of the sun, the moon, and stars that Yahweh showing us. And upon that, disgressive nations will perplex sea rich one. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, precept to that. This is Matthew 12 and verse 25. It says, "And Yahweh knew their thoughts. He said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself shall be brought to desolation, and every city or house divided shall not stand." Right, that's what we're seeing. As it says again, Beijing warns of annihilation of Taiwan's ATACMS deployment idea. Right, so wars and rumors of wars heating up. And this was a news article that I previously spoke about. I think it was like a day before yesterday, like 3 days ago. You had this individual. He was a Ukrainian assailant, plotted multiple Russians. This individual that almost unalived a top Russian general. I think he was affiliated with Ukraine. They were saying that he had uh, other top leaders in mind that he wanted to unalive. And so that shows you that despite the fact Russia and Ukraine trying to push for a peace deal between the opposing side, you got tensions are heating up, especially between these Russians and Ukrainians. So that shows that if a kingdom either values itself, the kingdom understand. And I believe the person that almost unalived the top Russian general, because I spoke about that a couple of days ago. Hello, yeah, because I spoke about that a couple of days ago. So that shows that the infighting division between the Edomite nations. And this is St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided, itself a kingdom not stand. Right. So if a kingdom be divided, itself a kingdom not stand. The kingdom of Edom is going to be divided now. So whatever. Verse 25, it says, if a house be divided, itself the house cannot stand. Right. So if a house be divided, itself the house cannot stand. And this is another example. You said, I think this is from the U.S. envoy. You was mentioning European NATO members are kids. Hey, that shows you that shows you that the division between Esau and Edom. Yeah, it says, and if a kingdom be divided, it's itself the kingdom that stands. So hey, we see the kingdom of Edom is being divided. We're going to be seeing more signs of that. Yeah, so let me read that again. It says, this is a news article, February 10, 2026. It reads, it says, Ukrainian assailant plotted suspect monitoring multiple Russians, the MOD officials, FSB reported. The agency says that it has made a third arrest in the connections in the attempt to the life of General Vladimir Alaski, if I pronounced that right. The suspect of the unaliving attempt of a Russian General Vladimir Alaski has monitored several other high-ranking defense ministries officials, the country's federal security service. The FSB has said Alex Kjv, the first deputy of chief of Russia's military intelligence agencies, the GRU, was shot on Friday in the corridor of his apartment building in Moscow. It says the prime suspect in the case of a 65-year-old Ukrainian-born Russian citizen, Vladimir Kurbar, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He was arrested in the United Arab Emirates at Russians' request and transferred to Moscow over the weekend. And Kjv has denied any involvement in the attack. It says the third suspect in the attempt of Alekseevsky's life has been detained. The FSB said in a statement on Tuesday, the agencies identified him as Pavel Vasin, a Russian citizen in his mid-40s, and his son, Kurban. Other alleged accomplice, Viktor Vasin, has been arrested earlier. The youngest son of Vasin confessed helping identity of the two more high-ranking officials in the Russian defense has been monitored by Kurban and Viktor Vasin on behalf of the Ukrainian intelligence. It says with the aim of carrying out other further acts of sabotage and terrorism, the statement has said. According to the FSB, the FSB vaccine purchase of surveillance equipment, father and Kurban, while also providing vehicles that they use in survey of Russian Defense Ministry officials picked up the GUN used in the attack on the Alexei from a couch. It says it also assisted that other suspects collected data on online about targets have been selected by the Security Service of Ukraine (SBU). It has said Kurban early told investigators that he had been recruited by the SBU last August and promised 30,000 of the unaliving of the general. It says Alexei, who has fired 4 shots at him, remain in a hospital in stable condition. He is unconscious and able to talk, the TASA reported on Monday, citing medical sources. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said last week that the attack on the general was an attempt by the Ukrainian government to sabotage peace process. Yeah, I'm not mentioning that, the peace process. Despite the fact they're trying to push forth a peace deal, hey, you got one of these people that support of Ukraine still got that animosity towards the Russians. So, and that's what you've been seeing on both sides. You've been having other people from the Ukrainian side trying to take out high-ranking members of the Russian side, and then Russia people that was supporting Russia trying to take out other high-ranking from the Ukrainian side. So we've been seeing that, I would say, from the past 3.5 years and all the way into now. Especially last year, we've been seeing that a lot. We've been seeing a lot of attacks been a lot of attacks been folded, and then they was able to catch them because they was having heavy ideas trying to take out high-ranking Russian leaders and generals and stuff like that from the Ukrainian side, and then you had people from Russian side trying to do that to the Ukrainians. So that shows that despite the fact they're pushing for a peace deal between both sides of Russia and Ukraine, you still got tensions heating up between the Russians and the Ukrainians. And this is read that again, St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand, so the kingdom of Edom now so more than ever. And this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 3. Second Ezra chapter 9 verse 3. Uproars of people world. Right, so we're gonna be seeing more and more of the uproars of people world and the increasing earthquakes. As it says again, the Ukrainian assassination plot suspect monitoring multiple Russian MOD officials had said. So that the division between Esau and Edom really gonna increase. It says criminals. Absolutely definitely see the division between Esau and Edom. We'll get to some more news articles. Shalom. Hey, Shalom. Yeah, Bashim Shab Rock. Thought you were. And you want to Shalom, brother. Hey, yeah, Bashim Shab Rock. Thought you were yours household. I say Shalom. It says Trump threatens to block opening Ontario mission is financed by Canada. Right, so we got the tensions are heating up between Canada and the United States about that, especially with the Greenland situation. Because I remember that they had that more economical forum, I believe, over there in Switzerland, because you had this heating up between Canada and the United States, because Canada they was from the opposing side supporting Greenland, because I believe there was another news article we had some other members that entering in Greenland to support Greenland. So that did that same thing on Mexico to use tariffs and sanctions on Mexico. Now that I believe Canada got hit with some more sanctions, now you got the president of the United States talking about he threatens to block. He said threatens to block opening of Ontario Michigan bridge financed by Canada. And so that shows that we still gonna be seeing more economical woes, more trade woes, more sanction woes, and more tensions are heating up between these nations. And these are Edomite nations. The Edomite prime minister over there in Canada, I believe he's a Democratic, and then you got the Edomite of the United States, 47. So a division between Esau and Edom is only going to continue to increase. Check out some more news articles. It says a U.S. strike. A suspected drug trafficking boat kills 2 and leave 1 survive. Because Esau still been blessed with a sword, he using that unjustly towards the northern kingdom. So Esau, he's gonna get that righteous recompense, even if Esau look at that as justified or unjustified, because that's what you call unrighteous creeds. Now, if they were supposedly entering the boat with these substances or drugs or whatever, at least you would have tried to detain them and stop them, and then try to take them back to where they come from, and then they'd be under arrest. But Esau, this nigga take this to a whole other level, using airstrikes on boats and stuff like that. So he basically targeted anybody that's a threat on that down there in Latin America for no reason, unrighteous creeds. Because the scripture says, what's that, Psalms 55, verse 20, verse 21, his words were smoother than butter, words in his heart. And you had, I think it was yesterday, I seen this on World Star Hip Hop. You had this bugged out Edomite. I guess they had to be like in their teenage years. They had to be like 18 or 19 or 17 or something like that. And they tell me why you had this bugged out Edomite. He called the Northern Kingdom. I think he was Issacharite. I guess they had a little altercation. He called him the N word and stuff like that. And that shows you how Esau feel about the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. And then he started saying like, "Booyah, booyah, booyah," like Esau. That's Esau right there for you. Blessed with the sword, talking smack to Jake from the Northern Kingdom. So that shows that's the spirit of Esau. Despite the fact Esau got division within his own nation, that's how Esau still felt about the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, calling us these proverbs and bywords. Because that's the spirit of Esau for you. But I just want to add a sad note to that. Oh,
I'm on one today.
There you go. There you go.
Show the Dylan big ass goldfish you had.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that shit big as like damn.
Spam call.
That big ass that shit was big as hell.
It says Sloppy. Yeah. Hey, so back to what I was saying. So that shows you that the division between Esau and Edom of towards Jake. How do you feel about the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom? It says Vince lands in Azerbaijan as the Caucasus peace deals business continues. Or we're gonna see how that holds out, especially between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Because I believe, I think it was recently you had tensions heating up between the borders of Azerbaijan and Armenia. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But the scriptures do say, what's that? First Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, for when they shall say peace and safety, and such destruction come upon them as a children child, they shall not escape. And this is First Thessalonians chapter 5. This is First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, such destruction come upon them as a child, child, they shall not escape. Right? Because I believe it was yesterday you had from the UN was saying that that crisis situation over there in Sudan, which we so used to hearing about from 2015 all the way to now. They were saying that the crises are only going to get worse over there in Sudan, despite the fact they've been pushing a peace deal over there. Same thing over there in Myanmar. I believe the borders between Tajikistan, I think it's Afghanistan and Tajikistan, because they send a redeployment of more reinforcements over there in the area, because they've been dealing with proxy groups over there, and tensions heating up. They're going against the government leaders over there. So that goes right along with that Luke 21 and verse 25. There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, secret warring. That's what we're going to be continue to see. It says Russia reacts to non-nuclear NATO allies wanting or joining armed race. Yeah, and that goes into the Ezekiel 38 chapter. So while you have so that shows you that that's an increasing sign that the tensions are only going to heat up between Russia and Belarus together versus non-allies that support NATO. And then the European Union, NATO as well too. So that shows a sign of wars and rumors of wars heating up on a day-to-day basis. And that second Edgerton verse 3 of wars of people world. And this is a news article from the United Nations. It says Ethiopia, Turkey fears of a new crisis of a Tigray amending renewed fighting. Right, because they've been having renewed fighting, heating up for a very long time over there in Ethiopia, I believe. Same thing over there in Somalia. So that's another sign we still gonna be seeing the upwards of people world. All right, check out some more. I think that's about it. Yep, that's about it. So this was just a quick prophecy updates. So Salaki for that, brothers. Momentary pause, kind of slow tongue word. words a little bit, so it's lucky for that. So other than that, hey, shalom to the brother Yuanathan, brother Malaka and the sister Rebecca. Hey, peace, blessing yours, your household. I say shalom to y'all. So this was just a quick prophecy update as of February the 10th, 2026. On this Tuesday morning. And with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lost the Holy Tongue. And I say Barak to the elders and apostles for Akim Akwaf. Until next time, I'm saying Komesh Rala and Shalom.